Da-na-da-da, da-na-da-da. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Marilyn Darling Show. Welcome to another episode of Fountain Pen Calligraphy 101. How is everyone doing today? Are you having a nice day? I hope you're having a nice day wherever you are in the world. I'm going to come on here and share this with our friends to let them know that we are live right now. My Alexa machine is not working, so she's going to get fired here in a minute. I don't know what's going on. So we're just going to have to wing it. Okay. Today we're going to be talking about blank paper. I forgot. I want to relabel this. Blank paper. Okay. Okay, today we're going to be talking about blank paper. Just remembering all of the things that we've learned so far. Using grid paper and dot grid paper. So when you're dealing with lined paper, it's just like dealing with grid paper or lined paper or dot paper. However, there's no lines to tell you where to go, what to do, which can either be a good thing or a bad thing. And I'll tell you why. Most people enjoy a little bit of guidance here and there to do their calligraphy with, and they don't kind of stray off into the grass not knowing what to do. Some people find it very difficult to write on a blank piece of paper. I happen to be one of those people. I don't enjoy a blank piece of paper. I'll show you what happens when you get a blank piece of paper. Now, these are just names and dates, but you find that you kind of have to make up where your lines go, and they might seem kind of chaotic and things. So you can best find paper that is thin enough so you can see your guidelines through it. Can you see the guidelines? I don't know if you can or not. Oh, you can kind of see them. find paper that you can see your guidelines through. Or you can use something called a light box. This is a light box. They come in many shapes and sizes, but they are a very thin piece of glass that has LEDs in it to illuminate the backside of paper. So here I have my connected into my computer, and boom, light box. Okay. And then you take one of your guide sheets that you made, and I keep misplacing them, using them, because I just give me a second. Make sure to put it somewhere funny. Okay, well, anyway, we'll just use this one for now. So what you can do is you can put your guide sheets underneath your lines, and theoretically, you should be able to see right through your paper. Now, you don't have to buy one of these fancy. This thing cost me $10 on Amazon. So that gives you an idea of how much you might want to spend on a device. There might also be called a light tracing pad, a light tracing light box. This one is $6. There's another one, and they come in all shapes and all sizes. So you want to get the biggest one possible for your amount of money that you are willing to spend. These help with a lot of different things. If you have a specific person that you follow that does calligraphy also, you can print out their lettering or their calligraphy, and you can trace their calligraphy if you want to. I wouldn't suggest it because copying other people's work is a very slippery slope. And we are all the same, and yet we are all different. So this is what I'm going to suggest. If you want to, you can get yourself a piece of paper. You don't have an idea of composition, and you want to make something nice for somebody, let's write an aphorism, for example. And depending on the amount of words, will depend on your spacing and things like that. So let's write the phrase, don't worry, be happy. You want to kind of give yourself some room to work with. I'm just using the ruler to make some lines, but you can use a pencil or whatever you want. I love my pencil. Come down, make yourself a line, come down, make yourself another line, come down, make yourself another line, and then flip the page over. And what do you have? You've got paper that you can see the lines through. Brilliant. Right? It's like the most brilliant thing since cheese. So, now remembering each of these sections has 4 bits. So, and you already have the top line and the bottom line. So the middle line is somewhere along here. This would be the X height. And that's how big you want your letter to be. You can make this many lines. You can make it small or big. Just remember the basic rules of how to make letters. So I'm going to write the word don't. And you want to kind of space your paper out, so that way you can make it all kinds of different ways. But if you want it to be in the middle, you kind of want to start at the edges and come out and come in to about how big you want the word to be. Or you can start on the left, or you can start on the right, or in the middle, or you can go make the words go don't worry, be happy, or don't worry, be happy, or don't worry, be happy. It just depends on what you want it to look like. It can be as organized or as chaotic as you want it to be. So I'm just going to go from the middle, so that way it's a little easier to see. And I want it to be rather large. So I'm going to start, and I can see my guidelines. I'm going to start International Line of Beauty. Up over around. Worry is a bigger word, so I'm going to start the W about here. B is a little word. So we'll start about here. And then happy would go down here. So happy is about as long as worry. So about there. Okay. And then once we turn off our light box, we have a lovely little affirmation. And you can't even see the lines through it. And it will take a little bit of practice to kind of see how big words are going to be on a piece of paper. But after a little while, you will definitely understand how it all works. Take some practice. Go buy yourself a ream of 99-cent store paper and try a couple of pages. It's going to take time. My angle is the slanted paper. The slanted line is at 55 degrees. In the description of this video is going to be at the bottom of the description will be a link to oops, hold on, I gotta fix it. The last link in the description now will be a link to a Google Drive document of a PDF where you can download and print the guidelines. Does that help? So you go to the, click the link, you go to the PDF. Uh-oh, crap. That's the wrong one. Hold on, let me figure this out really quick. Okay. Drive, Google Drive, 55-degree slant, share, change to anyone, copy the link, edit, Okay. There. I think that should do it now. At the very last link, it'll be labeled 55-degree lines. Labeled 55-degree lines. Should look like this. Open the page. You'll view the lines. You can print it. And it'll ask you where you want to save it. I put it on my desktop. If you want to just whatever, it'll save. You click it, it'll open, and all you have to do is click your print button and print it to your printer. Cool? I hope that helps. I would suggest that you print out about 10 pages of the slanted lines, because after a while they will start to look like this. And you won't be able to see the lines as good when you get down to a certain point, and you might get confused. So print out a good 10 of these sheets. And yeah. I hope that helps. So let's do some more, shall we? I need a longer cord. Okay. Switch this cord out for this one. Pray that this fits. Okay, it does fit good. Although it doesn't want to stay. As a journal keeper, I want to write plenty, and I do when I write letters or notes. When my journal all goes out the window, when I am in a zone and thought and trying to get it to paper. Well, then my suggestion to you is to use a voice recorder. Or pop up the video application on your phone. You don't even have to point it at anything and just start talking. For a really long time, if I needed to remember something, I would just double tap my home button on my phone and press record, and it would start recording. And I would be walking down the street, and you could, if I were looking at it, you could see the street, going like this. And I was just talking, just to talk, So I hope that helps. You can download all kinds of audio. Samsung has a good audio recording application. It does voice to text. I know that some Apple products do a voice to text now, which is very helpful. If you have a computer and a microphone, and you also have Microsoft Word, Microsoft Word has a dictation right here. And all you have to do is click the dictation button and start talking. I can't do it right now because it'll turn off the audio for you guys, but I hope that helps. And then you can just go back and take your time. Take your time, go slow. Journaling should be a fun process. And at first, you're going to have to go slow. But after a little bit of time and a little bit of practice, you'll find that you will speed up over time. You will find a pen that keeps up over time. You will find that there are pens that you cannot use. Like I cannot use Boinga Boinga, for example, to do my journaling. I would break the nib. I have to take my time with this nib because it's very fragile and I write very quick. Likewise, if I want to write very fast and I want a very fine line, I use my Pilot Falcon because I know that it has a really hard nib. And when I really want to give it the gas, I can give it the gas. And by gas, I mean the flex. I can really spread the tines when I want to spread the tines. Give a good swell, flex. These are all words that kind of mean the same thing. So it's going to take a little bit of time. The Fountain Pen Revolution ULTRAFLEX nib has to be of the smoothest and most flexy pens that I have. So I tend to do most of my journaling these days with these pens because they're smooth and I can go really fast. And I have lots of flex. And I don't have to worry if I'm going to break the nib because it's made of steel and is slightly more sturdier than a gold nib would be. At least a vintage gold nib. And there's no reason to say that you can't do calligraphy with a monoline. I often use a monoline pen. I have my Pilot Petite 1 is a monoline. And well, maybe this is a bad example. It's not being very cooperative right now. But I can use one of my TWSBI pens. It has a broad nib. Now, this is rather sloppy, as we all can see. Yes, no, they don't make the ULTRAFLEX in gold because the gold flex nibs are very soft. They are pretty soft. So there's something that's called, I'm trying to think of the word now. Something that's called temper. Once gold is tempered to a certain hardness, it stays that hardness until it's moved in any which way direction. And once you move the nib into a flexed position, it will soften up and it will become a little more loose. So, and that's the same way with any gold pen. I have this here Pilot Falcon and it has a very fine line. Extra fine, but then after a little while, you can press down and get a little bit of gas out of it, a little bit of flex out of it. But it takes time and patience to get your pens to lose their temper. And I don't mean to get angry. I mean to kind of conform to the way that you write. They will lose their temper by flexing over and over and over again. And until they lose that temper, they will seem very stiff. The falcon nibs are very stiff. Very stiff. So, fountain pen revolution nibs are very soft. The ULTRAFLEX nibs are very soft. And they flex really nicely. I highly recommend getting a Fountain Pen Revolution ULTRAFLEX nib. You can also get, this is a NOODLERS KONRAD with a NOODLERS ULTRAFLEX nib. But if you buy the NOODLERS KONRAD and a Flex nib, it's the same price, almost within $1 of buying a Fountain Pen Revolution Himalaya with the ULTRAFLEX nib. So just buy a Himalaya. The only reason that I had this first, and I bought an ULTRAFLEX nib, and I put it in my Conklin, and the Conklin, it worked very good too for a little while, but the newer Yovo, like the Yovo nib housings, do not work with the ULTRAFLEX nib. The base is too wide. The old ULTRAFLEX nibs, old Conklin nib housings are compatible with the Fountain Pen Revolution ULTRAFLEX nib. But the new Yovo nib housings are not compatible with the Fountain Pen Revolution ULTRAFLEX nib. Does that make sense? No, the Himalaya version 2 is a 6. This is a 6. A number 6 size nib. The only pen that I have that the 5.5 ULTRAFLEX nibs fits in is my Jane Davenport Mermaid Tail. My Jane Davenport Incredible fountain pen. It is not a number 5. It's a 5.5, which means that it is smaller than a 5. And if you put the nib in a Jinhao 992, put it upside down to put it in an ink well, you'll lose the nib. So you have to be careful on which nibs will go in which pens. Because you might lose your nib. This is friction fit. It doesn't have it's a non-keyed friction fit pen. How can I explain this? Oh, yeah. Too many things. So this is a Pilot 912, and I can turn the feed and nib inside of the housing. because it's not keyed. There's no space, no specific orientation that the nib and feed need to go into the housing. Whereas a keyed nib housing, there will be a space at the top where the nib goes in. And you'll see on the bottom, it's like a squared off. That's where those go in together like so. And the nib goes on top. And it's friction fit, but it's a keyed friction fit. Does that make sense? A lot of vintage pens are not keyed. I don't know when they invented the keyed system, but all I know is that most of them are not. The ones that I've seen anyway. Okay, let's do some calligraphy on this white piece of paper, shall we? I'm going to put that in the bin, and we're going to get a brand new piece of paper. New. Uh-oh, my only one left. I don't know what happened to the other ones. Seem to have been misplaced. Okay. No idea. I'll just make some more. Okay. So, line up your paper with your guide sheet. Make sure you can see everything good. Draw out your lines. Now, if you're this is called composition, where you're composing something to look a specific way. So this is 11 inches long and 8.5 inches wide. If I want to write something in the middle of that, I have to write 5.5. 5.5. So this is about 5.5. And about 4.25. Oh, I was so close. 4.25 right there. So that's the middle. So score that section. And then we're going to go, since this ruler is smaller than the last ruler, some people will just use the ruler as spacing guide sheet. Rulers come in many shapes and sizes. This one is triangular, or I don't know what shape you would call that, but you can use that to do spacing. You can use this to do spacing. But for this example, I'm going to use this to do spacing. Oh, God, this is getting really frustrating. Okay. Be right back. 2 shakes. I gotta get a different cord strap on my nuts. I need to think. What did I do with that cord? I hope this one works. Cross fingers. Yay, it works. Okay, there. I need to find a softer cord so I can move this thing about without pulling it out. You can also use pencil to make your calligraphy. Now, since I use my pencil on one side, I'm going to turn it over so that the pencil markings are on the back side of the paper. And we're going to try and we'll use Boinga Boinga for an example. So, if you're going across and making, you kind of want to have an idea of what your angle of attack might look like. So just kind of make a mental note of where that line is. And when you're starting all the way over at the edge, you want to make sure that if you're making a letter, you want to always give about a finger width space between the edge of the paper and the bottom of your first letter. So this has a little bit of space on the side. So right at the edge is where we're going to make our first letter. And I'm just going to write, this is an example. So we're going to make our international line of beauty. And then is an example. Oops. I mucked it up. That's because I'm really good at mucking things up. border. And after a while, you will get really good at being able to tell where the middle of a paper is. Did you see how close I was? Also, when making a composition, try and go from the middle out, if you can. Do it with a pencil this time. Made that one too tall, too far up. Probably a shitty example, but one type of an example. Border. Now your lines don't have to be straight. They can be however you want them. Probably not the best example of composition either, but it just goes to show that you don't have to put your lines going the same way all the time. And with practice, you'll get good at it. Good to the point where you won't even need lines. Not the straightest, but you can definitely tell that there's a line there somewhere. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that was kind of a useless class, but kind of get an idea of how you can use blank paper to do calligraphy on. The better the paper, the better you'll be able to make nice, unbleeding lines. Cheap paper will most likely feather. However, some paper that you get from HP Premium copy paper, you will barely be able to see the lines through. So this is HP Premium 32-pound copy paper. You can still see the lines, but not very good if you have lights on. And especially not good if you don't have any backlight at all. So when you want to see the lines, cheaper is better, but not always if you don't have a backlight to see your lines with. You can kind of see the lines with cheaper paper. So it just really depends on what kind of a look you want to go for. Now, I can't tell these papers apart just by looking at them, but I can by feeling them. This is the 99-cent store, and this is the Premium 32. Premium 32 is really good stuff. 99-cent store paper is really good too. This is multi-purpose paper. What did I do with that thing? Well, I thought I had one somewhere. No. Oh well. Well, that was a great video. That is all for today. I want to thank you all for watching. I hope that you guys enjoyed that one. I hope that you learned something. Please share this video with your friends. Follow me on social media. Like, comment, subscribe, ring the little bell. Make sure it's set to all so when I upload new content, YouTube notifies you. And I will be back very soon with another video. So take care until then. Okay, love you, bye.